Um, Before I met God, I was very uncertain about life. I would travel almost every 6 months due to family circumstances until the age of 12, where I was taken away from my parents and put in state custody. And it was just really confusing because I didn't understand what was going on, but I was forced to do things that I didn't want to do and make decisions that I felt I wasn't ready to make. And overall, it was very depressing and very dark growing up before God. At the age of 4, my mother sat me down and told me that she was gay and that we would be moving with her and her girlfriend out of state. And I was too young to understand at the time what it really meant, but I didn't like the feeling of leaving. We moved to Houston, Texas, and for the next 4 or 5 years, I would witness my mom and her girlfriend drinking heavily, doing drugs, fighting. And it got to the point where when each one of them would just go overboard, one would get arrested and I would be sent to a family member's house out of city or out of state, not knowing when I would go back home. Experiencing and seeing all of that, witnessing all of it, it really had an effect on how I perceived my mom, the absence of my father, the way I saw myself. I was very insecure and not knowing how to handle certain situations. But after a few years, I decided that it was best that I made my own decisions, and I started using drugs and hanging out with the wrong crowd, not going to school, and really just trying to experience everything that this life had to offer. There was a time where I was selling drugs, using drugs on a regular and a daily basis, and it was very dangerous, and it caused a lot of problems with family and friends. I started using drugs originally because of my friends and the perception that it was the cool thing to do. Everybody was doing it, and it never really had an effect on you unless you allowed it to. It started off with parties and a circle of friends, but it turned more into an outlet of trying to overcome my depression and suicidal thoughts, and trying to release the stress that I had built up for all the years that I would go from place to place, feeling rejected, abandoned. Drugs really helped me feel nothing. Started making a lot of bad decisions, dropping out of school, getting involved with crime. And after all of it, I had the opportunity to join Excellerate. In the program, I learned how to plan goals and go after the goals. I learned how to look at life as an opportunity to do better, to be better. And more than anything, I learned that God is on my side and that He's for me, and that I have a family in Him. Before the program even started, Derek called me and told me about it and asked me if I wanted to be a part of it. So I had the opportunity before most, and it sounded really good. My first impression of Excellerate was like, finally, an opportunity to do something big, do something great, to really get the ball going in life. And the first days of Excellerate, I was part of the second class. I loved just the environment of like a classroom setting, because I was a dropout, so I didn't really have that. I loved the fact that the the staff of Excellerate cared. Alan was there, Hush, Darren, they were all there for me, whatever I needed. They really went out of their way to see me as well as the other students excel in success. My favorite part of Excellerate was definitely just the time where we got to know each other and really began learning together how we could overcome the obstacles in life and achieve our dreams and goals. And we got a free car. My favorite class was a class about forgiveness. Learning that forgiveness was not just for the person who needed it, but the power to do so, because ultimately forgiveness is what we all need. And I remember being afraid to open up about my bitterness towards my father. But in the class, I learned that just as I was forgiven, God forgives those who have harmed us, and so we should too. And talking about it, talking through it, and praying with the Excellerate staff, I felt like I was able to do so afterwards, after understanding what it meant to really forgive someone. Excelerate's made a huge difference in my life, from the learning how to be financially stable, to planning and achieving goals, to getting from place to place with the car. Excelerate's been beneficial in every area of my life, from emotional to physical to spiritual. It's taught me to do the best that I can with the best attitude, knowing that all things are possible through Christ, and really motivating me to go after things that I may not be able to, but knowing that I have a family that'll support me in whatever area that I go. If I could thank God for one incident in my life, it would be the adoption, my adoption. If it wasn't for the adoption taking place, I would have never had a chance to Excellerate. I probably would have never been in this situation to meet God, and I would have never met the family of God that loves me and takes care of me today. If I could thank one person for where I am now in my walk, I would say Darren Williams, because even before the program, he believed in me, and he motivated me and really pushed me to see better of myself and to never give up. If I had to tell someone why I was Christian, it would be because of the love, the joy, and the hope that I found in Christ. Before I was Christian, I was very depressed and very lost in life, but after meeting Christ, I learned that He has a greater plan for me than I could ever imagine for myself, and trusting Him has really proven to be the best decision I've ever made. The closest I've ever felt with God was at a church camp, when it felt just like me and God was in the room by ourselves. I was able to let go of all of the bad things that happened in my life and really experience God's love and God's mercy, God's forgiveness.